So any good fufu should be going with some solid livestock. Well, I do mine with either chicken, goat meat, or indeed my favorite domedo, pork. But guess what? About 11 million chicken is slaughtered in this country every single year, and only 900,000 of these chicken are produced in Ghana. It means we fall short of over 10.1 million heads of chicken every single year. That's actually developing the economy of others at the detriment of ours. Also, the Ministry of Agriculture has plans under the Planting for Food and Jobs program. We'll be going out there to find out from the minister exactly what they're doing to actually shore up the figures to make sure that the agri sector actually has some increased growth. The Ministry of Agriculture, as at 1998, indicated that more than 90% of all livestock consumed in Ghana were imported. Recent figures, as at 2013, have moved the numbers to some 30% local production against 70% importation. Apart from the 1998 figures from an agricultural census, Ghana is currently conducting one which will give a true picture of the state of livestock. Hundreds of goats packed at the back, and in fact, this room is full of different kinds of meat. And guess what? Tefamco is indicating that all of this will go away by the end of the Christmas. So there's a huge appetite for livestock in this country. So why cannot we just grow all of this or rear all of this right here in this country is the question that I'm off to go and find out from the Ministry of Agriculture. What are the linkages? Why can't we have the whole value chain linked so that if someone can produce meat in northern Ghana, they know that they can be bought by, well, slaughterhouses like this place. A major setback for the livestock sector has been access to finance. The poultry industry, with the most import, has only 5% local production. The problem has been feed and not market. Local producers are doing some about 900,000 chickens a year. At the Agri Ministry, the minister tells me there's a solution in sight as Ghana launches the Rearing for Food and Jobs in 2019. But before then, he paints a picture of the livestock sector.
We are talking about the demand of the equivalent of 11 million heads of chicken. And in Ghana today, we don't even have 900,000. So the demand is there. It's just waiting to happen. But it's waiting to happen when the price at the table is reasonable for the consumer. And that can only happen if we have enough sufficient supplies of feed at reasonable prices. And these arrangements that I'm talking about will enable that to happen. In addition to that, you know that about 2 weeks ago, the president launched the Ghana Commodity Exchange. That's also precisely to create a market to ensure that we have enough, we have the market for the ingredients, which is the maize, soya, and other commodities. And that is also another way of an institutional arrangement to support what we are trying to do to revive the poultry industry.
The Rearing for Food and Jobs is part of a five-pronged approach to achieving the Planting for Food and Jobs. It's expected to provide the magic wand in plugging the gaping hole in the livestock sector. When the program is launched next year, the ministry will not dole out money to farmers, but feed which they need the most.
It is ironic that 20 years ago, Ghana used to export meat, poultry meat, and eggs to neighboring countries. Now we only produce 5%, less than 5% of our total demand for chicken. We import about 160,000 metric tons of chicken worth over $320 million a year. These figures translated into heads of chicken are 11 million heads of chicken a year equivalent that we import into this country. So we are very down on it, and the reason is very simple. The basic ingredient for livestock production, for poultry production, which is the feed, which constitute nearly 80% of cost of production, we are having to rely on imports of feed. And of course, if you are importing your feed, which is your basic product, you don't expect to be able to compete with imports. So Planting for Food and Job, what is done is to really increase production of maize that has everywhere from every region is going up considerably.
Yellow maize?
Well, maize, yellow maize, whatever maize, that is one component. The other component is soya beans. And soya beans, we are well short of what we need in order to make an impact on poultry feed. So the coming year, 2019, we are going to focus largely on the increasing soya production in order to match the increase in maize, to enable us to start making an impact on poultry. In fact, this is why we've held back on the issue about the poultry, the livestock development component, which is the rearing for food and jobs. Adodankwa Kufuado, through his vision, has been able to revive the idea. So you may have heard that last 10 days or 2 weeks ago, he went to their farm place at Wawase to look at the new enclosure which has been built, and it's really a beautiful sight to behold. That now that we are moving into the dry season, the Fulanis are now bringing their cattle into these enclosures and being supplied with food, with water, with veterinary services and so on, and that would help to diffuse the tension between the local crop farmers and the Fulani cattle owners and herdsmen. Now, this is on a pilot basis. This Wawase establishment can take 6,000 heads of cattle.
By April 2019, 80 warehouses will be added to the buffer stock storing maize, and this could be released to poultry farmers.
We have revived the buffer stock company, which is now in charge of the new warehouses that we are putting up. We are putting up 80 warehouses of 1,000 metric ton capacity each, and by March, April, I'm hoping to take charge of these warehouses and then hand them over to Buffer Stock Company. Buffer Stock Company has licensed over 1,000 companies and individuals to buy from farmers and bring the produce to their warehouses under the arrangement that we have. So with these surpluses, of course, Buffer Stock is supplying Ministry of Education, free HSS and school feeding and all those things. But we would have the stocks to manage, to support farmer prices at the farm gate. And of course, these stocks will then be an input into poultry farmers signing an agreement eventually with the buffer stock company to supply them with the maize and soya bean at very reasonable prices, because they will be buying and selling as we go along. And then to guarantee poultry farmers a certain minimum amount of feed.
At Jafamco and Abattoir, the CEO is worried access to finance for the agri sector is little, and that is why they are performing abysmally, especially at the livestock sector.
Government have a lot of ways giving such people a loan or something. I think the interest rate will be a bit affordable, so we can move forward. Because in Ghana, at the Soboko Bank, now interest rate of 35%, and now say interest rate, or more than that. How a butcher or a farmer can pay this back? And you never go. Maybe I mean, call bank that so more money set 40% interest rate and now 35. Me call that because I know definitely. So many government support that money you can pay because you man kapre simple na ebe kan say cd kakra be na de da so wo mu enti mo a wo be ye no na che say wo ko wanu but if it preko bank na interest rate one charges you never into one ko ni bia enye board ko bank en ko so ko je bank loan that but aban wo nhihye bebra interest rate, you know, and form kakra said the TB, I think we can move forward and save.
When you saw facility will be done.
Me go so my apply bebre from my buy tremoko me apply anye we so about me go so me apply into your head
the way he no apply be done.
You know once you war as in bank loan. For example, if you pay 5, 10, 12% as a butcher or a farmer, no matter how, you can pay that money back. There was a stimulus package. I have applied for it, and no government will be for 10%.
For him, the ministry should contact people in the sector to draw proper linkages in the value chain when pushing for the agenda of rearing for food and jobs.